and mixing the hand towels with the dishcloths and wiping stuff. It's like, that's really disgusting and nasty. I don't like that. But telling everyone but the person or whatever, it's like.
Are you saying if things like that happen? I think that happens a lot.
Well, everything I listed has happened.
Then it happens a lot. That's the answer then.
I think it's happening less, but I think it's a form of gossip. Like a lot of times, it's like
It is.
And I think passive aggressive characteristics fit under this category because it is not. It's again like with candor when it involves like a direct uncomfortable conversation, not directly going to the individual. But
like the Bible says.
But like indirectly talking about some just passive or indirect like comments that communicate or like indirectly communicate dislike or a preference without saying a preference. It is like, or like a tone of voice or things. Like I think this is the type of things that like is part of this toxic suit too.
Then they might even think, oh, that person don't even get it, and they don't even know what you're trying to get them to get.
I don't know what people think.
They tell you what they think.
Sometimes.
So anyway.
Well, anyway, for the stream, we're going through the 13 communication strategies from the book No Fail Communication, seeing which ones we are currently applying in the ministry. And we're on number 12 right now, talking about proactive communication when the problem is negativity. So yeah, you guys can go on. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, negativity. Thanks for recording, brother. So don't join.
Wait a minute, did you just say you're recording?
Yeah.
I thought you said you're not recording.
Yeah, she just started.
Oh, you just started.
That was his indirect way of telling us we're recording now without saying we're recording.
It was confusing me. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right.
So not joining. Like, honestly, like as far as that goes, I don't think there's like a culture of like speaking poorly of people or focus on their defects, or I don't think there's necessarily like a culture of that where we're like joining in to just like feed into murmur and complain. I think often it's usually just like there's multiple people, but it's like one person at a time who's disgruntled about something, and they have like just comments, and there's multiple people that like communicate like that, that they might say comments, but it's not necessarily like shared preferences that people are joining in on, like, yeah, that bothers me too, and like not talking to the person. I think it's just like people say things here or there, but they feel uncomfortable speaking to the person, so like, but I don't think that necessarily we get into like a circle of like, let's talk about this thing that we don't like about Kamran and how he does this and that.
Like gang up
when he's not there.
Mentality.
Yeah. I don't think we contribute anything like that. So we don't join.
But do we challenge negativity on the spot?
That's the thing. I believe I seek to, but I see that we really.
I seek to too.
That's good, and I know Kathy has done that lots of times with comments people say is like have you talked to Pastor Smith? Have you talked to this person or that person about it? It's like you should go directly to them. So that I believe is like one of the most important things about. It's not enough to just not join, but we really do need a challenge.
That's right. I believe so too.
And I think it's good that we communicate it often, because that reinforcing the culture is what helps maintain that. Where if we, if we decide not to do it and we do it, that's one thing. But if we do it and talk about it, and like it's named, Andy Stanley has a podcast about how to create culture, because it's what we're talking about now. Proactive communication is like that. If you name it, you wear it, meaning like you resemble it, and you do that, and you talk about it, and you teach about it, and then it becomes like common language. It's kind of like the identity that we talk about. Culture is like the identity of the organization. It's the things that their culture, that all their behaviors are based on the culture of the ministry. So when we have a culture of challenging complaints or gossip or negativity, then that's good. I think we're good with that. I don't think we're joining or challenging.
Communicate directly. So that's, I guess that's going straight to the person.
Yeah. And being clear of this is the things that I like, these are the things that I don't, and I'd like to find a resolution.
I try to do that, except for when to do so would harm them or others.
I don't think we communicate directly.
You don't think so?
No, there's a lot of things that are being broken up in the squads. There's a lot of concepts and beliefs. I'm telling you, there's a lot of concepts and beliefs, there's expectations that are disintegrated through the generations of leadership because of the unwillingness to communicate directly with the assistants. For instance, like Sister Kalo and Giselle were leading. Kalo's been leading for months, and she had no idea how to give an offer at the end, 10 minutes. Tina never trained Kalo or Susie.
I think everybody
whatever.
needs to be trained that too.
And then,
even if they watch you do it over and over, they still don't quite understand. What I find that people want to do is like use up that 10 minutes
in
the Bible study instead of.
And it's because the offer is communicating directly what you have to offer, and people get uncomfortable with that directness, and the asking, and so they back down. And then whoever's leading, they're uncomfortable with directing the like there's a problem and being direct about like, hey, giving feedback like, hey, you did really good here and here, but we want to use a whole 10 minutes and we want to talk about the things we have to offer. And that communicate directly is like giving feedback. Like one thing that Tina's working on right now, and she's getting better, is like giving feedback. And so I think that we're not really doing that too much.
Giving feedback?
Communicating directly, yeah.
Which includes giving feedback.
But doesn't everybody get feedback?
You do, no. And everybody doesn't.
Oh, how do the people learn what to do and what not to do then?
They don't learn. That's what the problem is.
Oh, okay.
That's why we're going through this book.
Then it goes into the second, third, and fourth generation.
Yeah.
But how do they get through without feedback?
They still invite and grow. And
How?
People show up, but it doesn't mean that they're conducting it according to expectations. Following the system.
That's good to know.
It's like that question on a scale from 1 to 10. What number has your assistant said they are on this? And the assistant says, "Oh, I'm at a 9," and the assistant hasn't touched the training funnel. And then the leader's like, "Well, okay,"
And they're not at a 9.
Yeah, the leader might think that they're like at a 3, but they don't want to be so direct and be like, "Hey, just to let you know, like I would say you're more like a 3 because you haven't even started the training funnel, or there's still things that you need to learn, and it's not just this hour." And like setting it directly, clearly setting the expectation, and because they feel uncomfortable with that, for weeks they think they're at a 10, so they're like, all right, we're ready to split, but it's like that's not how it works. So that's what happens. That's why we have people who don't know what they're talking about, because direct communication is a struggle. So, you know what I'm realizing? With this, I'm thinking like, Lord, how can we get this in here? And like, and it might be just that I have well, anyways, I think the one thing that we can do that could help implement these things is to create like day live videos and leadership tables to help address the limiting beliefs and present liberating truths so that people can click and understand and get that these concepts. Yes.
I think also if we practice saying the offers, with our person we're training, to practice it, because I know that it is difficult if you're not a salesperson, or if you're not a good communicator or something, and that might be the hardest part of the whole meeting. And if they practice that part before they're thrown with the wolves, and so maybe if we didn't give that to them at first to do, and then practice with them, and then see how they do, and then put them out there when we feel like they could do it.
I hear what you're saying, and
they don't get scared.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. With practicing, I think that's great. Anytime you say yes to anything outside the meeting, like time with them, you're saying no to something else. And if people are already struggling with like spending time with them outside of that 1 hour, then it might be harder for people to do that at scale. If it could work for you, like you could do that, and I encourage you.
We're supposed to be meeting with them outside of the group.
Yeah, we're talking about a lot of unmet expectations. I hear you, Mom. I agree. It doesn't mean that people are. And I think most people are, just some are not as much. But I would venture to say that the squad meeting is the practice. If you language it in your mind, that like the assistant going out there, like throwing them out to the pack of wolves, then that's going to create the emotion of great fear and mistake and failure and everything.
Well, that's
like
what
that.
they feel like it is.
Yeah, that's what they feel like, because that's the language that they have in their minds of how they do it. Like, I don't want to even say they think that's the real thing. I know, I understand that.
No.
But what I'm saying is, what I have found, like, as I train people, the people I train, they understand it, they get it. The way that I do it is that I'm not setting a separate time. I'm saying, no, that is the training. In the squads, this is a safe environment to practice, that this is a place to learn how to swim.
But do you say something to them when they do something wrong inside of the meeting?
Afterwards, no, I say it after, when we're doing the field report, and I just give them feedback, or I like while they're doing the meeting, I'm writing on Google Docs the ways that I would improve, and after the meeting, I send them the Google Docs so that they can read and understand. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I give them feedback, and that, like, I'll directly share with them feedback, a feedback sandwich and stuff. But but like communicating that this is the practice. This is a safe place to learn. We're all family here. We're all friends. Like, we're all learning this together. It's not like if you make a mistake, it's going to be the end of the world, or people are going to be eternally lost because you messed up on this thing or said something. And just communicate, like, there's good, better, best. Like, you're not going to fail at giving an offer. Any offer is better than no offer. And the languaging, like, position the action in the squad as such with words that have a more healthy, safe, encouraging emotional charge to those words, so that in their mind it's framed in a way that's like, oh, this is my practice, and hey, and be like, look, I'm here as a safety net, that if you fall, I will catch you. Like, that visual is like, oh, okay, that's good. So it's like, I'm not going to do it for you, but you do your best, and I've got the rest. And when they do their best, I'll fill in the rest of the 7 minutes. If they only do it for 3, then we'll talk together and say, hey, that's good. Because that's how people learn the best. And be like, hey, these 3 minutes you did, boom, 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 really awesome, very good. Did you note, like, what did you notice in the next 7 minutes, the type of things that I said? And just let them talk. And then they learn by that conversation. It's not about, like, I think a lot of people, they don't want to hurt their feelings, or they don't want to, like, they don't want to be, like, they think that being direct means, like, hurting people's feelings and pointing out all their mistakes and failures and shortcomings, and they don't want to do to others what they wouldn't have done to them. But the feedback sandwich, like me sharing that, was partially like a direct and intentional way to help people to overcome their fears of feedback. Does that make sense? Do you think that would work if we use their practice round right there? Okay, I think that would help. But yeah, with what I was saying is creating daily life videos and leadership tables. I think those resources would help, because I remember Mary Young was telling Giselle that she's unable to write descriptions because she's got a lot on her plate, and because she's like signed up for a lot of responsibilities. And Giselle was like, she referenced the resource 6 Ways to Say No Without Sounding Mean, and it's like now, which I thought was cool, because within our ministry, like the leaders are using these as a resource to teach skills and equip them. Be like, hey, you can say no, and here's how. And then feel totally fine with that. And I'm like, yes, that's awesome. So we just got to create the resources.
That's right.
So we're not communicating directly, but there's stuff we can do about it.
Yep, there is.
So the next up is to model gratitude. Does anyone remember what that was talking about?
To me, it seems like it's kind of like replace a complaint with what you're grateful for. Complaining is often like what's missing, like this principle. You didn't word it that way, but like talking about the issues that people have, but rather than talking about their issues, talk about their excellencies and expressing gratitude for the environment, the culture, the leadership, the team, the people involved, things of that nature.
Yeah, and I think that it talks about how which reminds me of COVID-19, how, we talk about seeing what's great out there, instead of just, because we get in even if you're not a complainer, but you're just going day by day, just, in the same rut every day. Being grateful will take you out of the rut, out of that space of ho-hum or whatever. So grateful. Gratitude.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
It really, gratitude increases the significance of what we do. That's that basic human need. It's is appreciating and feeling the importance, a sense of importance for the work that we do.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Carmen, are you able to add those things? Like, they talk too much, we need to talk? Those phrases are like awesome. Those would be awesome to have on Diana's thing. Maybe it's like a bullet or something. Wow, that is cool.
It says, as leaders, act promptly, model gratitude, and show appreciation.
Yeah, that's the one that we're on. Oh, it said gratitude is the antidote for what?
Negative thinking.
Oh, negative thinking. Oh yeah, so that's what he's saying. It's the cure for complaining. Oh, when the problem is negativity. When he says negativity, he means complaining. Ah. So the toxic stew is complaining.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it's venting to people who have no control.
Yeah.
Just adds to the toxic soup.
There it is. Venting to people who have no control over the outcome.
Right. Then you're just adding to the toxic soup.
That's good.
It's one thing to go and talk to the person that, that can do something about it, or, but to vent to people who have no control, that's what adds to the toxic soup.
Yeah. So this is how we deal with dissenters.
refuse to join in.
Take care of those who engage in mutiny.
Yeah. Change the, when people are talking or gossiping and stuff like that.
We reel in the rebels. So do we model gratitude here?
I think so.
I think we do.
We talk about things we're grateful for.
Amen.
Focus on possibilities rather than problems.
Boy, when you say it that way, possibilities rather than problems, I think we still need work there. We do express the things we're grateful for, but I think like on a scale of 1 to 10, as far as like from problems to like solutions, I think we're at like a 3 out of 10. We tend to focus more on problems that we don't know, don't have, than we do on the solutions or asking questions to find answers. As far as like things we're grateful for, I think we do express a lot of gratitude stuff, but we're learning to be grateful for our problems. And that's an issue that I think a lot of us are still trying to wrap our minds around. What do you guys think?
I think we can partially mark it off.
Partially mark it off. There you go. It is like with Sherry today. I wanted to encourage her to. She was trying to find the outline for where we're at, and she was saying, how do I? Yeah, how do I? She said, how do I? And then she didn't like ask anything, and then you could tell she was frustrated and stuck, and she's just there, and she's just gonna like be frustrated for a while. And if we continued the discussion, Mom didn't help her out, we just kept going, she would have been stuck, frustrated, not following along, and not even paying attention, lost her thoughts. When all you have to do is literally say, how do I find what you guys are looking for? Or like turn her problem. I was like if you ask a question, you can get some help. And then she's like, I don't know. Here's a problem statement. Problems only exist in a statement. She's like, I don't know where it is. It's like, that's not a question. But just asking like, where do I find, or how do I find what you guys are looking at? And or like, where do I go next? Like, this is where, like, I'm on the page, where do I go next? I don't see what you're looking for. Then it's like that question, immediately you can find an answer. It's questions that turn problems into solutions. By asking a question, we can find a solution instantaneously. But but I think like as far as like that scale from 1 to 10, we're probably like at a 3, and we got some work to do. And that's something that I'm actively wanting.
I think we're just at a 3.
Yeah, I think we're at a 3 collectively. Some people are further than others, but I think collectively we're at a 3.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right. Then the next thing is, as a leader, take prompt action. So like make an effort to, it says here, rectify the situation.
Delay not to deal with dissenters and disturbers of the peace. To rectify the solution. So that's basically like, if you see a gap between what's expected and what takes place, like fill the void with trust, or like communicate. That's kind of like having those challenging conversations. Like, we need to talk. It's like having the challenging conversation sooner rather than later, and taking prompt action to like find solution. Like, what we're talking about is complaining about problems or solving problems. Mm-hmm. Which one will we be, the complainer that magnifies the problem, or will we be the solution oriented that magnifies and brings attention and focus to solutions? Are we actively looking to solve problems, or are we seeing problems and be like, whoa, yeah, I don't know what to do there, scarcity, and then walk away? Like, see trash on the floor, like, whoops, that's dirty, and then like walk off. Or is it like when it comes to relationships or people or things, and That's good. And we're on the right path. Just onward and upward. 1% better in a year is 37 times better. Pretty cool. Imagine if we
2% better every day.
Yeah, every day. Imagine if we do 2% better every day. It'd be exponentially better. Do you guys think that we take prompt action?
Oh yeah.
I think so.
I think some of us do. Some of us fester.
Stewing and the stinking thinking. Do we take prompt action or do we avoid problems? What do you raise your hand for? What does that mean? I don't understand.
Both.
Oh, both.
Probably avoiding more.
What about you, Kathy?
It says, as a leader, I think the leaders do take prompt action.
But all of us are leaders. Everyone has
Right.
influence.
I know it.
So, do the leaders like what's your influence? I mean, what's your point of emphasizing as a leader?
Because the followers won't, but the leaders will.
Do we have followers in the ministry?
Do we have followers in the ministry? Is that what you said?
Yeah, who are working in the ministry.
Yeah. We're all leaders and followers. I hope we're following Christ and we're leading people to do the same.
Yeah, I think I guess the emphasis or definition is in a different place. Like, technically, yes, but the way that Kathy was meaning it, not necessarily. I know Susie for weeks was avoiding talking to Marlon about being a squad leader. She's not a squad leader anymore. She's stepped down and Garrett is. So that was not prompt action. And Tina has avoided having hard conversations with people. She's starting to do it more, and she's starting to have joy for that communicating and give feedback and things. And we tend to procrastinate things that we feel uncomfortable with. I know, like, I've been procrastinating talking to the Drew 100 people as Attila's been asking me for stuff, and I'm like not prompt with that. So I know that there's different problems that we face. So, Kathy, what do you think that we do? Do you think that we take prompt action as a whole?
As a whole, then no.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what number do you think we'd be at?
5.
5? Okay.
But remember, we're talking about negativity, complaining.
So, dealing with complaints, prompt action as in like nipping it in the bud.
I guess so.
Is that different than like challenge negativity on the spot? Oh, correcting wrong impressions?
I think that that we all could learn how to nip it in the bud. Because there's a proper way and an improper. What was you saying?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
There is an improper and improper way. Some of them could cut off ears and others actually can heal, prune. This phrase, I love that title. It says, imagine trust. Even if you can't imagine it, just imagine that you can imagine like trusting the people that you work with. Like that's powerful, because our brain doesn't know the difference, can't tell the difference between like actually trusting and then vividly imagining that we're trusting people. And our identity, like our imagination is one of the things that can drastically shape our identity and quickly make a difference. It's just seeing by the eye of faith, like imagining Christ in us, the hope of glory, as it relates to these challenges of life. It's like that, what would Jesus do? Like really imagining, like if Christ was in my situation, or like if like Christ was in me, what would Christ in me do in this situation? And imagine myself carrying out that Christ-like behavior. Even if I don't actually do that, like I'm not doing that, but imagining it will shape my identity, so it'll be
That's like
easier to do
saying
that.
it. That's like, it's more than saying it, because it's like because in your mind you're doing it. You're actually doing
Because
it.
we have mirror neurons.
Yeah, and
that
so
what
it's
we
happening.
look at.
It's happening for you.
Yeah, by beholding we're becoming changed.
Yeah.
Like that's how we change our identity. Imagine trust. I just thought that was the coolest thing, because trust is
It
a
is.
hard thing that people have. Like trust is extremely hard, that limits people. Like I'm afraid to trust people. Like that identity statement, limiting belief. The one thing that has led me to like have where each day is better than the last, and where I've like really thoroughly enjoyed like deep relationships with people, was when I made the decision to trust everyone and have distrust earned. And it's really hard for me to lose my trust in someone, or for someone to earn my distrust. It's like before it's like, yeah, you gotta earn my trust. Like I don't trust you, you gotta give me reason to trust you. It's like, but when I switched, that's what allowed me to love people and openly connect. I have deep relationships, deeper than I've ever had in my life, and each day's getting better than the last. From that one belief, that decision there is what opened up all the possibilities in my life with relationship-wise. So it's like, and it's hard. Like that was one of the hardest decisions of my life, one of the best. But then imagining, it's like I don't know if I can do that. Like I don't believe. Like I have limiting belief. Like I can't just trust people. I can't do that. I've been hurt. It's like, but imagine that if Christ could do that through you.
Yeah, that's nice.
That is so cool. This book is great.
So we need to work on that.
Taking prompt action? I guess so. You gotta work on it.
Yeah,
You gotta work on it.
definitely.
Because it's trust. Oh, that's why. Because trust is what allows us to take that prompt action in communication. When there's lack of communication or unhealthy communication, it's trust that's the glue, the bridge that helps that communication to be possible. Trust will not take place if there is distrust. It's so amazing. We're learning how to piece these things together. It's reasoning from cause to effect. It's cool. What? Imagine my mom. Oh, confrontation and confession. When the
Confrontation.
problem is mute.
And confession. Oh, I thought you were saying confrontation, confession. That there's like confession and confrontation. I was like, what?
Let me confess what you've done. I need to confront. I need to confess the things I'm confronting you about.
No, you need to confess. I'm confronting you.
You know what I really like there is like the if apologies. Well, I'm sorry if you got offended.
Yes.
I'm sorry if you made this mistake. I'm sorry if
I'm sorry you can't
insert
take my
fault.
apology.
Yeah. That was powerful. Those if apologies.
It is, yeah.
Never heard of that before.
And then people do that.
Often. It's a way to deflate ownership.
Yep.
So,
Confrontation and confession when the problem is miscommunication. So when there's miscommunication going on, do we confront calmly and objectively? There's that objective again.
Mama?
I think I do.
What? We just had a long discussion about how you do not see the value in.
That's your
objectively.
opinion. That's your opinion.
She's sorry if you take it that way.
Wait a second.
No,
No.
that's his opinion.
Yeah.
My
I
opinion
feel.
for objective.
What does objectively mean?
It means you're only looking at like it's only looking at facts. Like if you miss your
Right.
if your toothpick isn't there, you're just like, hey, there's not a toothpick here. So who knows where the toothpick is, or thinking like, hey, where could my toothpick be? That's objective. The objective is just the facts. The toothpick isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
Subjective is the toothpick's there. Who threw away my toothpick? Why did they throw away my toothpick? People don't care about my stuff, and like that's subjective.
In order to be subjective, you have to look at it objectively. Because subjectively is putting your 2 cents in with it too.